Sis, he is not your husband. He's not. Hey beauties, it is Raven QR back again with another video, and today I want to talk about, sis, he is not your husband. So if you're anything like me and you desire to be married, I want to remind you today that there's nothing wrong with that desire. There's nothing wrong with that desire, okay? The Bible starts with a marriage, it ends with a marriage. God created marriage. Marriage is good, okay? The desire is good, all right? So don't let nobody tell you that you're asking for too much because you want to be married, or that you're incapable of being married to someone, okay? I was a little girl when I knew that I wanted to be married someday. I was just a little girl, and my grandparents were an example for me, and so I just always knew that I used to always say, man, I want me a husband like my granddaddy, period. I used to always say that, and to this day I love the way that my grandfather take care of the family, and I love the way that he loves my grandmother, okay? Now, I'm not saying that I want that exact marriage. I'm just saying that it gave me something to look forward to. With that being said, since I have always known that I wanted to be married, in the past, I may have idolized the ideal of marriage, right? You cannot expect God to bless something that he did not put together, okay? So if you are out here and just want to be married because you know that God created marriage, but you're not really seeking his face, you're not really concerned about his will, then you'll be in a messy situation expecting him to come bless something that he never put together in the first place. Sometimes we can want something so bad that we try to do it ourselves. And so I was young. I'm still young, but I was a little younger and I was naive, and I said, so with this world today, it's so many people that are of the world. It's so many young men out here that are of the world. So the moment I found somebody, the moment somebody found me, the moment I met somebody who said something about God, you know, somebody who was in the church, I said, baby, that must be my husband. I used to think that I wanted to be married to a pastor or someone that was in the church, but so I'm here to tell you that in a perfect world, everyone would love Jesus. In a perfect world, everyone would be sinless, okay? And everyone will be walking around here being a man of God or a woman of God, right? And so in a perfect world, how would you choose your spouse? That's how I have to think about it sometimes, because right at one point I was like, okay, so this world is a mess. It's so many people of the world. So the first man I meet that's of God, that claims he's of God, then he must be my husband. And I know a lot of people to this day still think like that, and it's very, very dangerous. It's so dangerous, because you think just because they mention God that they are a child of God, their actions are Christ-like. But everyone who is a man of God is not your husband. So it's very dangerous when you start to think, oh, well, everybody else out here in the streets and he ain't, so he must be my husband. And then you start to, you know, get off track and get out of alignment, because you're trying to make sure that you trying to hold on to this man of God and be like, ooh, this is my husband, so I can't let him go. And God telling you to let him go. That's not it. That's not it. And you like, oh Lord, it is. You know, that's the point to where I realized, okay, so just because he is a man of God does not mean he's my man. Does not mean that he's for me. I can be good friends with this man of God. I can be associates. I can be business partners. I can be things, a lot of different things. I can be his sister. I can be, I don't know, I can be other things, but that does not mean that I am called to be his wife just because I'm a woman of God and he's a man of God. And it gets really dangerous if you start to think like that. Okay. Another thing I want to talk about is, now, just because a man comes to you and say, well, God told me that you were my wife. It's so important for us as women. Now, God may have told that man that. And who am I to say he did? He might have. But it's so important for you, woman of God, to go and ask God, see God's face for yourself. It's so important for you to go and say, okay, God, little homie said that you said I was his wife. Did you say this to him? Let me know, because you ain't tell me that, but you know what's up. You know what I mean? Or just, pray about it and see how it turns out. Don't take that man's word for it, because, I mean, he could be lying or he could be telling the truth. But if he's telling the truth and you take his word for it, it will come to a point to where you are idolizing him and you're not even worried about what God says about it. Like, you're not hearing God for yourself. You're expecting God to only speak through him. And that's also dangerous, because you work so hard to build this relationship with God, and just to rely on somebody else to tell you what God is saying. What a waste of time. Every man of God is not your husband, sweetheart. It's not. And it takes more than you just feeling like, ooh, that's a man of God, for a man to be your husband. Okay, so I'm gonna give just a little bit of my testimony. So once upon a time I met this man, and he was a man in the church. He was, man, I was like, whoa, ain't no other men out here like this. Everybody else in these streets, or they don't know how to, have a conversation about Jesus for more than 2 seconds, and they will say, hey, I'm a Christian, or hey, I believe in God, but they ain't really got no fruits to show it. And so the moment I met someone who brought up God, in the first, conversation that we ever had, I was like, whoa, Lord, are you trying to tell me that this man is my husband? And God probably was like, nah. And I was probably like, I think so, because yeah. But anyway, so I started to I was already in it too deep when I first met them, because I was so fascinated that they had a relationship with God. And so as time went by, I was just like, ooh, I just was so freaking mesmerized. I was like, my husband has come to me. I went asking God what he thought about it. I went asking him, is this my husband? Now, I told him, hey, this my husband. It's my husband right here. And so I started to, I guess you can say, date the person. And it was cool, but it was so many red flags, but I couldn't see them, or I wasn't acknowledging them as red flags, because I just wanted it to be my husband so bad. I wanted him to be my husband so bad, because I was like, well, at that point I was definitely idolizing the idea of marriage. I was not seeking God's face. I was just like, okay, he's a man of God, he must be my husband, because I've never dated anyone who was a man of God, you know what I mean, or who presented fruits of the spirit, you know what I mean. And so I was like, yeah, this must be my husband. And so we dated, and I was shown signs, it was kind of like, he was not a bad person, but it was more so of, but he really not who you think he is. Y'all really not on the same page. He really don't want to marry you. You just want to marry him. And you want to marry him for the wrong reason. You want to marry him because you think he's just this man who's on fire for God. But you don't know if he can lead you. You don't know if God has, if he's the person that God has for you. You don't know how he acts with other people. You don't know if he's walking in love. You don't really know much about him. You just know that he is a man of God and that you want him to be your husband. And so a few months later, we basically stopped talking. So God, he really know my husband. Like, you I think sometimes we get so caught up in the idea of things that we try so hard to force it to be where we want it to be, but not really being concerned about what God says it is. You know what I mean? Because I'm pretty sure it was so many signs. I'm pretty sure it was so many. God was communicating with me in ways that um, I could have understood. But sometimes we just want something so bad that we ignore all the signs. We ignore the conviction in our heart. Like, it's crazy what we would do when we start to idolize things, when we start to want things so bad that we take God out of the equation. After then, I didn't really learn my lesson. Like, I still then I started dating people who was like, well, I don't even believe I believe in God, but I mean I don't believe in the Bible. And I'm just like, Raven, what were you thinking, girl? That's the You supposed to run when people say stuff like that. You run, okay? Okay. I mean, like, you can, evangelize and try to do some discipling, but as far as marriage, baby, if the Bible is not what you live by, baby, you cannot lead me. It took some time. It took some growth to get where I am today. But I just want to let you know, young woman of God, that just because a man believes in God, just because a man shows fruits of the spirit, does not mean that he is your man. Okay, does not mean that he is the man that God has called you to be. Oh my God, he is the man that God has called you to be with. Great. I used to also think that, like, I need to find my other half, baby. My other half needs to find me. Two halves two halves of people can come together and be a disaster. Okay? I need a whole man and I need to be a whole woman when my husband becomes my husband, basically. I'm not sitting around here waiting on him to become my husband to consider myself whole. Baby, I'm whole right now. And he should be whole right now. And when we come together, we become one, okay? One whole, not one half equals a whole, whatever. Y'all know what I'm saying? I think it's so that's also dangerous to think, oh, my other half. I'm waiting on my other half. So right now I can just sit around and just toot the loo. I can do the do, and I can just wait on my husband to come. And then I can think about furthering my ministry. Then I can think about pushing furthering the kingdom agenda. Baby, no. You have purpose right now. You have purpose without the man, okay? The man has purpose without the woman, okay? If you just sit around and just allow your purpose to die, waiting on someone else to come to complete you, baby, no. You will be out here lost in the sauce. You will be out here sad because a lot of times you will meet your husband, you will meet your wife while you're walking in purpose. You know what I mean? Sometimes you got to do things by yourself in order to prepare for that person. It's certain things you have to do. Raven has to do alone before she can be with somebody else in a marriage. You know what I mean? Some things that Adam has to do alone before he can be in a marriage with Eve. Okay? So we're not sitting around waiting on a man to come before we choose to be purposeful, before we choose to further to build our ministries. We're doing that right now. Okay? Right now. Because we're filled with purpose. We're full of purpose right now. And the purpose does not stop. As long as there's breath in your body, baby, you have purpose. So let's unlearn that. Let's unlearn the idea of needing someone else to be purposeful. Because you're purposeful right now. Amen. Amen. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you think. What let me know if you have experienced a point in your life where you feel like, oh, this might be my husband because he believe in Jesus and it didn't work out. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will be back with more videos.